Hey guys, Black Ninja 797 here. In today's video, this is going to be another commentary for you guys. And I've been really having a lot of fun doing commentary videos lately, so I hope you guys are enjoying them as much as I am. But in today's commentary, what I want to talk about is something that is probably going to be a very close thing to call. This is probably going to be very difficult to come to a conclusion, because I know that a lot of people don't like either of these two things. But I thought it would be a very interesting topic because it will probably get a lot of people involved and we can finally come to a conclusion about which one of these two things is worse for the newer Call of Duty games, and that is the exosuits or the supply drops. These two things, in my personal opinion, are both very close and very, very bad for, the newer Call of Duty games. I ran a poll on my Twitter earlier, a couple of days ago, and I asked you guys, what do you think is, killing Call of Duty? And I listed three things. I listed futuristic setting as number one, exosuits is the second option, and the last option was supply drops. It was a very close, poll. It was very, very close, actually, but what actually ended up happening is that when the poll finally expired and it finally gave the results, it was a complete and utter tie between the exosuits and the supply drops. A lot of people do not like either of these two. It was 50% to 50%. So I was just like, that's a very interesting result. I thought something was going to, barely be in the lead, or I thought that, something was going to be, very, very, very significantly worse than the other. But it was very, very close. So I didn't necessarily want to, continue with my original topic idea. My original topic idea for this commentary was going to be, what do you guys, think is worse? I was basically going to kind of do sort of the same thing. Or I was going to have it where it was just like, futuristic setting versus exosuits versus supply drops. And I thought that would be even more too close to call. But I'm pretty sure, after thinking about it for a few minutes, you guys will be able to, make up your minds about what you think is personally worse. I'm going to say my opinion for the end of this video, so that way I don't, influences your guys' decision. But I basically just wanted to kind of do, a comparison video between exosuits and the supply drops, looking at the bad and even the good in both of these things. So that way we can, kind of come to the conclusion and finally address to, to Activision, hey, out of all the things you're doing, this is the worst. You really need to, stop doing this to your newest games, otherwise you're going to, kill the franchise. So basically, let's start off with the bad reasons, so that way, we can end things on a positive note and end it with good reasons about, the exosuits and the supply drops. So let's start off with the bad things, and let's start off with the exosuits. The exosuits have been in every Call of Duty since Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare started it, and Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare have it as well. Advanced Warfare had the most chaotic version of the exosuits, being like, really crazy with the spammable double jump, the thrust, being able to dash, several, feet into the air, and you being able to, exo slide. Black Ops 3 toned it down, and then Infinite Warfare said they, toned it down even more, which I kind of, understand, like the exosuits in Advanced Warfare were like really too chaotic. But, basically, what ended up happening with all three of these games is that because of the exosuits, the game became way too chaotic, from the other Call of Duty games. Everyone was used to, people being on the ground and only having to shoot people on the ground, but when you have the ability, for everyone to jump in the sky, it really turns the tables. Like, you could be shooting somebody and then out of nowhere they can just spam the A button, or spam whatever button it is on, PC, and then, like, the, other buttons on whatever platform you're basically playing on. They just hit that button to just spam jump, and they just get over your head, and then they just, just spam you with a shotgun or something like that. Just something really stupid. And everybody hates the exosuits for that reason. It just basically makes it where everybody repeatedly flanks each other, everybody repeatedly shoots each other in the back. It's just not a fun time. For Infinite Warfare, they kind of, tried to tone it down even further from Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3, but then they also tried to replicate Black Ops 3, so they kind of made just the same, but it doesn't feel the same. Infinite Warfare feels more like Advanced Warfare than Black Ops 3, because of multiple reasons, which I'll be getting into later in this video. But I think that the exosuits, they just can't be guaranteed to be, good. Like, the exosuits in Black Ops 3 were somewhat decent, but even in Black Ops 3 they could be infuriating sometimes, because, like, you could be shooting a guy, and then you could, have him jump up in the air, and he could just, shoot a shotgun, basically, into your skull, from 100 feet in the air. It's just not a fun time. So that's one of the reasons why exosuits are not good, is because it's unpredictable, it's way too chaotic, And I feel like it's gotten to the point where it's divided the community up so much that you can't really get the fan base all back together again, because now there's some people that are used to the exosuits and they can't go back to boots on the ground, and that, divided the Call of Duty community to the point where if they make a boots on the ground game again, will people want to play it, or like will they be so used to the exosuits that they can't go back? Like, that's something that I'm really worried about, with Sledgehammer, is I'm worried about them making a boots on the ground game again, and then everyone just thinks it's too slow, and we have the exact same problem now with it, being too fast for certain people. So I'm really, really worried, what the exosuits, have done to the community. And then let's talk about the bad about supply drops. Supply drops were also introduced in Advanced Warfare. Ironically, Advanced Warfare started all the really bad trends for Call of Duty. But basically, for Advanced Warfare, they started, introducing things like, supply drops and cosmetic and weapon variant, items in the supply drops. And everybody was not exactly sure whether this was a good thing or a bad thing, because Advanced Warfare was the very first Call of Duty to ever have this, so we really had nothing to compare it to. And so when everybody started getting these variants like the Obsidian Steed, the Speakeasy, the Insanity, the RIP, all these crazy weapons, people had such a significant advantage over you, and you just really couldn't do anything about it. And Black Ops 3 tried to fix the problem. At first it was just cosmetic only, and then Activision pushed Treyarch to make, melee weaponry skins, which was sort of like new weapons, but they weren't at the same time. It was still sort of cosmetic, but people still complained because it was like a physical object. And then, they, finally introduced weapons. So Activision realizes that the supply drops don't make money unless they actually do have a statistically, a statistical advantage over your enemy. That's really what they found out, is that as much as it's unfair, people don't pay money for the supply drops unless they get an unfair advantage, which is a really scary thing to think about, because if Activision knows this, they might intentionally never go back to a legit fair system for Call of Duty ever again, because they know how much money they can make off of a pay-to-win shooter. And so that's really what I'm worried about, is that in Call of Duty Vietnam, or whatever Sledgehammer makes, I'm just hoping it's Call of Duty Vietnam, because at least that will help out, Call of Duty to a certain extent. But whether it's Call of Duty Vietnam, Advanced Warfare 2, or whatever, the supply drops are probably going to be just as bad in, Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare. I think Black Ops 3 is the best it's ever going to get. Black Ops 3 tried to fix the, supply drops, but it really just only, bought us time. It really didn't stop the, the supply drops for good. It just bought us time, really. So I'm really curious what Sledgehammer is going to do. Are they going to make it variants again? Or are they going to make it where it's cosmetic to start, and then they just don't have variants and they just only do basic guns that are not necessarily the best, kind of like how the HD-40 was a reskinned or reimagined MP-40, and it was really just not that good. It was just kind of lackluster. But I'm hoping that Sledgehammer, whatever path they take, they just at least make it good. And so let's look at the good for both exosuits and supply drops. The exosuits and the supply drops really don't have too many good things, but there is some good things. Number one is that, let's start off with the exosuits, by the way, to go in chronological order. The exosuits, they do have a ability to make the game very fast-paced, which can be good to a certain extent. It prevents people from camping, continuously. There is still people that still camp, but it makes it where, at least if there's a camper, you can, jump over his head, which the camper might be pissed off about, but you can take out the camper. And, you can flank people to a certain extent, get out of spawn traps, people can't troll you. There's a lot of things about the exosuits that are bad, but there is some good things, just like that I listed. Now, the good things for the supply drops, and I can't believe I'm actually going to be saying this, but some good things with the supply drops is that essentially everything is free if you end up, getting the supply drop system introduced, because, if you get lucky enough, you can get a really cool thing, you don't necessarily have to pay money for it. The supply drops also make it so that way you have something to grind for. You don't have to worry about just paying your money, and then you have everything. You just, you grind out the game to get your stuff. So that's another thing, is you have a whole lot of replay value. And that's really the only things I can think of, because I really can't think of any other good things for these items. But I basically want to come to the conclusion about what is worse, exosuits or the supply drops. Because in my personal opinion, and I'm hoping that you guys, have already made up your decision by now. If you haven't, just pause the video now, because I'm about to list off my opinion. I don't want to influence you guys. But in my opinion, I think the worst thing about the newest Call of Duties, specifically out of all of them, specifically out of, this, poll that I had, I think the supply drops are the worst thing. because here's why. The exosuits and the supply drops are very, very bad, but the supply drops, in my opinion, are slightly worse, because the supply drops, they can continue to be in every single Call of Duty in some form or fashion. The exosuits, they're probably going to have to get rid of, them eventually. Call of Duty probably can't last much longer if they have exosuits in every single one of their games from now on. So what I'm thinking is that whether Sledgehammer, did continue with Advanced Warfare 2, I mean, my bad. No, yeah, Advanced Warfare 2. Sorry, I was thinking about, something else that kind of threw me off. But, if they continue, with these futuristic Call of Duties and the supply drops, I feel like that would hurt the franchise way too much. So I feel like what Sledgehammer was forced to do by Activision, and I kind of feel like this is, what they want to do as well. I feel like they're going to finally go back to boots on the ground just because the majority of the community does not like, futuristic movement or setting. And I feel like they'll keep the supply drops, because here is why. The supply drops were actually introduced into some of the old Call of Duty games as well. Well, technically one, but basically it was introduced into COD 4 Remastered. So it shows you that they can still work, in Call of Duties that aren't even necessarily in the future, because, some people might be like, oh, what could they put in supply drops? Or, they can't stick laser guns in a modern era game. Or at least we hope not. But, basically, the supply drops can go into any era. You could have it where, for Call of Duty Vietnam, you could have, a Vietnamese guy, giving you some old-school Vietnam weapons. Or, he can have you, have some Vietnam skins or something like that. But you can't, make it where, there's exosuits in a Vietnam-era shooter. That doesn't make any sense. And we've all come to the conclusion that we don't like either of these two of the things. But I feel like the supply drops are worse, but they can be in any game. So I feel like that's the route that Activision would take. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think like Activision. So, basically, out of all of the things, I think the supply drops are the worst, because I feel like out of all of the things, they are going to stay. I feel like they can't keep the exosuits, and I feel like they can't keep the futuristic setting. And plus, also, I feel like Activision are too money hungry to ever get rid of the supply drops, because, I mean, look how much money they've made. They've almost made, several millions, even billions of dollars just off of, one game's worth of supply drops. So, I mean, it's really not that good of a system, but I feel like if Activision makes money, they'll continue to have it. They won't stop, putting it in games unless they don't make money anymore. And the only way that's going to happen is if we stop buying them. But no matter how much we push for it, there's still, these younger kids that don't know any better, that are 12 and 13 and 14, that just continue to, buy into the system because that's, what they were used to. That's what they started off with. Some people started with Advanced Warfare and didn't play the older Call of Duties and really had nothing to compare to because they don't have, a 360 or something like that. So, basically the summary of the story is, and I'm trying to, not make this a rant, but it's probably becoming one, is that in the end, supply drops are most likely going to stay forever. There's most likely going to be no way that they're going to get rid of them. So I feel like Sledgehammer is going to make a Vietnam, or a boots on the ground shooter, but they're going to keep those. And I feel like that the exosuits and the futuristic setting are just an immediate, turn off with these newer games, because when Infinite Warfare came out, immediately people just started disliking just for the sole fact that it was in the future. The reason those 3 million dislikes exist is just because it's just simply in the future. We didn't even know about, how bad the supply drops could have gotten in Infinite Warfare until it came out. And so, I'm just hoping that whatever Sledgehammer does, I hope they take the Black Ops 3 route and not the Advanced Warfare or Infinite Warfare route, because these pay-to-win variants are just getting really annoying, and it makes the game unplayable sometimes. Because at least with Black Ops 3, the weapons were so scarce and so hard to come by that, it basically didn't affect the game really, and you didn't have to worry about, somebody having such a powerful weapon, because at least in Black Ops 3, the weapons that they put in the supply drops were kind of just lackluster. So anyways, guys, this is going to be today's video. I'm really sorry for how long this video is. I kind of want to make it short, but I want to not miss a detail. So basically, I want to hear your opinion down below, guys. Whatever you thought of before I gave you my official answer, I want to hear it in the comments below. What do you think is worse out of the two? The exosuits or the supply drops? I really want to hear your guys' opinions, so that way we can come together as a community and finally decide. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and if you did, I would really appreciate if you could drop a thumbs up on the video, and I'll subscribe if you guys are new. And hopefully you guys, have a great day, and I'll see you later. Peace.